Hi, everybody. Looks like we're just waiting on a couple. I don't know, Richard, if you want to go ahead and call us to order or.
Mark's not in.
I thought he was attending, but I don't see him right now. So sometimes he stops in here like right around 6. So if you want to wait a minute, that's fine. If you want to get going, that's fine too.
Yeah, we just wait a couple minutes. If not, I'll just let me know in a couple minutes if he shows up or not.
Okay. What's that? Sure. Yeah.
Yes, treats.
Okay, we still got nothing.
All right, we'll call meeting to order. 6:03. Any public comment? Anybody on there, Paula?
Nope. We do have a new member, Amanda Conklin. She was appointed by the city council. She volunteered her services to the DDA. And Christopher Jemena is on, from the state of Michigan.
Okay. No public comment. Has everybody read the meeting minutes? Or does anybody need a minute to review them? If not, maybe we can get somebody to give a motion.
I'm motion to approve Culpepper.
Second, Hunt.
We have a motion, a second, to accept the meeting minutes for November. All in favor?
Well, we're meeting on Zoom. We have to call roll, Rich.
Okay, would you like to do it?
Conklin,
Yes.
Culpepper,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Star,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Kinsky.
Yes.
All right. Anyone opposed? Okay. I guess the roll call took care of that. Treasurer's report. We have our treasurer with us.
She is not on. She did email me the treasurer's reports earlier. I forwarded them to you guys. Do you want me to tell you anything on them, or?
Does anyone have any questions? If not, does anyone want to give a motion to accept them? I think we have two of them. We have November and December.
You can
And
do
if
them
I-
together.
Yeah. And if I understand right, there was 78 beginning on the November and then we ended at 86. Did I
Correct.
read?
So,
Okay. I just wanted to be sure I read that correctly. Okay. So if
I'll
that
make
be
a
the
motion to
case,
approve.
thank you. I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. You want to do a roll call, please?
Culpepper,
Yes.
Woods,
Yes.
Star,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Kinsky,
Yes.
Conklin.
Yes.
Okay, the November and December treasury reports are accepted. New business. It says on here, Pace Forward program. Was there something special about that, Paula?
No, it's just that we do have some new members. I want to make sure everybody knows that it's that time of year again where we open up the program for Face Forward applicants.
Yeah, and I believe our deadline's March 1st, correct? To
I
have
think
those in.
sometime in March is when the deadline, I think it's actually like the third Thursday or something like that.
Yeah, that's correct.
You
Yeah.
guys usually deal with them at your April meeting, so, or maybe, no, your March meeting. So they're in just before your March meeting date, I think.
Correct.
Does anybody have any questions about the program or what it is?
Where are the applications at?
We usually have them online. I'm not sure if they're on the city's website. I think they are. And then we have them available here at City Hall. I quite often just get calls from people in the DDA asking me, if there's anything, and then I tell them. So, but other than that,
Okay. Next on the new business is economic development progress review.
yeah, as part of our RC program, in order to keep up our RC status, we need to review some of the things that we've done. And I tried to put in, remember the economic development strategy that we worked on? I think that Sharon came in at the tail end of it, and then of course Amanda wasn't here, but everybody else should have been involved that's on the board. So basically, we're just kind of reviewing what we said we were going to do in there. And so I sent you the tables, and I kind of made some notes about things I thought we had already done that would, meet some of those goals, or not meet them, but help us work toward the goals. So did anybody have any comments on what I sent out? Very quiet group tonight.
Yeah, so what do we have to do with this, Paul? Do we just have to add more comments to it, or just kind of
No,
put this together so like you have it, or?
I can let Christopher talk for a second if you want, but basically, I just kind of went through it. You guys should review it and then come up with ideas of how we can improve. What's our next project? What are we thinking that we could do that will help us get to some of these goals that we had developed? What do you say, Christopher?
Yeah, I mean, that is basically the intent, Paula. As part of the RSC certification, we just ask that the plans you all spent the time making and paid for, right, that you're actually using them, right, versus sitting on a shelf. So your annual assessment is just an opportunity to reopen the plan if you haven't opened it in the last year and be like, well, these are the things we thought we were going to work on. Did we actually work on any of them? Or did we run into challenges? Do we need to add new things to meet these goals? So it's not necessarily like such a formal kind of event. Like what Paula wrote here is great, right? Some comments, some offhand like things that we've achieved. There is another part to the ED strategy I would point out, which is you have your goals and you have your actual actions later on in the plan. You actually did meet some of those actions this year, which is awesome. Like you achieved RRC certification since you met the economic development strategy goal, and that was one of your key actions. So you can take a look at those kind of lists and just be like, cool, we're on the right track. And when you're looking at what you want to work on this year, your priorities, you should be referring back to your plans. I mean, like, okay, we thought we were going to work on these things. Instead of pulling something out of thin air, let's see the things that we said would work to get us towards our goals. And that's what we want to put our priority for. So that's kind of what the whole point of all of your annual plan reviews with RSCR. But Paula had decided that the economic development strategy fit with the work that you all do as the DDA. So here you are doing the annual review. Kind of how that works.
So does anybody have any comments on that, or any projects that they can think of that kind of follow this criteria? Nothing tonight. Nah. Well, we can think on that and hopefully maybe bring up some more projects at our next meeting.
Well, you could actually just approve this if that's, if you agree with what I put on there, then we can always bring it up every meeting if we want to.
I love
Right.
that. You should do that.
No, I think we should talk about it again. I mean, I'm glancing through it right now, even as we're speaking, and I apologize. I didn't have time to look at the meeting packet before the meeting, or I would have done so. And I'm just, and now I lost track of where it was. I had it open and I was looking at it.
Is this stuff from our DDA plan, our new DDA plan, or is this part of that? When we reworked the plan, our downtown development plan, I know this is like the same as the guidelines for that, but is this separate from that, or is this part of that?
This is separate from that.
Yep. So your DDA plan typically refers to specifically how you're spending your tax increment financing money. Well, your economic development strategy is typically a broader strategy for the community as a whole, and typically isn't tied directly to funding. So.
Yeah. So I have it open now, and I'm sure this has been shared with me, but for whatever reason, it looks fresh now when I'm looking at it on my computer. So is this really focused? Is this community wide or is it DDA specific?
DDA strategy is meant to be community wide, Sharon.
Yeah.
Well, they are. Yep. That's what I thought, and I just wanted to clarify that. That's what the
It's
title
just that
says. Because there's a lot of.
kind of our team for it, Sharon.
Pardon me?
The DDA was our team that we used to create this. We
Okay.
had a few other people on it, but that's kind of the way we did it.
Yep, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. I'm glad to see that a lot of the background is in here on things like labor force participation and income, employment. It's all in here. And then we look at the challenges, and then we've got, I'm just trying to absorb this really quickly. There's so much in here. There's a lot packed in here. I almost feel
We
like,
don't mess around, Sharon. We do it. We do it right.
yeah, no kidding. I'm like, holy cow, 6 goals. So the goals are education, infrastructure, regional collaboration, tourism, industry activities, and quality of life. So we could talk, maybe the way to do it is to think about each goal. Like, what have we done on education? What have we done on infrastructure?
And those
So
are the
did we-
things I kind of wrote down.
Did you? I'm sorry, where did you write those down? I'm
So
sorry.
it was attached to the packet that I sent out. So on
Okay.
education, you know, I said that the SCDP has set up a jobs board on their website, and that, you know, the city and other businesses should open an account there. And that we applied for a grant to receive an intern, but we were not awarded. So, I mean, we were
Right.
trying to do something there. So I did that with each section. Talked about something I thought that we had already like worked on or did. I mean, it's not all accomplished, obviously, but there are some things that we did that worked towards some of those goals.
So in the agenda packet, you have these numbered 1, 2, 3. Is that what 3 is on goals?
Yep,
Okay, thank you. I didn't know. So let me open that. Bear with us
Yeah.
while we catch up. It's opening now. Okay, got it. Education. So I guess the real question is, did Paula miss anything? I'm sure you have I'm sure you have all of this cataloged in your brain. Paula, is there anything that when you were typing this in, was there anything that you think seemed to kind of stand out as something kind of a gap or a hole that we should talk about?
no, I mean, what I wanted to see if there was anyone else that thought of something that we did that I had forgotten about. And in addition, if there's any, you know, one of these actions we want to take on or something like that. But basically, I mean, I know Christopher needs to plug his ears, but we're, you know, we're trying to check a box tonight and just approve.
Oh, it does hurt when you say it. Not just.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Well,
I mean,
then-
the whole point is to review it occasionally and make sure that, you know, we're on point with, you know, maybe one of these goals just doesn't work anymore or, but I mean, I think they're all still very applicable because this is such a new plan. But
Well,
So
when I
what you're really needing tonight is basically, if there is no suggestions of change tonight, you need a motion to accept the review as it's been presented, and then we can open it back up next month if we wanted to, or 2 months from now.
we're all
On-
year long, yeah, I mean,
That's what I thought.
yes.
well,
Do we need a motion or is it just accepted as it is?
No, a motion.
Okay.
well, before we do a motion, I guess. So I don't have anything that I can speak to in terms of education, but on infrastructure, didn't we repave our downtown, that main corridor through the downtown? Wasn't that just repaved a few years ago, or am I losing track of time?
Not since we did this.
Okay, thank you. And then regional collaboration now, aren't we working with the county on marketing? Like we even gave them an updated marketing flyer for the
Yep, I
county.
mentioned the QR code that you guys did and the ad that we worked on. I mentioned that in here.
Oh, okay. But that's not under regional collaboration, it's under tourism, I guess, huh?
I don't
there-
remember where I put it. Some of these
So,
things kind of cross paths.
Sure.
Yeah, one's gonna have different messages for different categories. It could fall into half a dozen of them.
yeah, well, on the tourism, so that sign that was put out by Sleepy Hollow State Park, that was put up before we did this document?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sorry, just try to catch
I
up.
do think we would like to update that sign, though.
I agree. I think it could be bigger, and I agree. I think that should be on our list. Yep, and it is on the list. Thank you.
Yep, so that's something, that, you know, I think we should do is probably, you know, keep that in mind. We did that sign five years ago or more. So it's time to update it, maybe put that QR code on it and do some other things with it.
Well, I guess you guys already know that one of my touch buttons on tourism is having a kayak launch that's closer to the city. And I know that I brought it up last time and we said, well, it's not really a DDA thing, but I kind of, when I look at this, I go, I think out of that whole fit program, and you do have it on here under tourism, but I think I would love to see something more specific about somehow finding a way to get a kayak launch in the city somewhere, or at least closer to the city. Our nearest kayak launch is, 5 miles in either direction, if not more. And that just the fact that we've got a river so close through our city that does get some use. I know that people, anyhow, not to wax long
Well,
on it,
it's
but that's-
farther back than what you realize.
Yeah, it's
City
out of
doesn't
the
have any
district.
bordering property on it to even have access to
yeah,
speak of in the city. So there's a lot of things on that as far as DDA, I don't even know how it would really fall into there because of the district, but I can be corrected every day and be.
I can
So,
tell you
Could
how
that-
that fall
could
into
that
the
be a regional collaboration thing though? Is that something that we could work with?
Because the DDA is in charge of, supporting the businesses downtown. So if a kayak launch were to get visitors into town, then it is appropriate for the DDA to be involved in it.
Yes.
Right, Christopher?
And-
Yep. Your ability to spend money on it via TIF would depend on if it's in your TIF district or not, but certainly you'd be able to at least play a role. So.
And regardless, I mean, you just said that the DDA team that we were the team that worked on this document, which is actually a citywide document. So I'm wondering if there's a way to collaborate with the county or with Friends of the River. Isn't there like a Friends of the Shiawassee River or something like, I know that there's organizations like that, or a watershed protection organization or any sort of organization out there that we could collaborate with to find a way to get a kayak launch that's, even if it's not technically in the city, it's closer. I feel like this is such an opportunity to bring visitors in and to bring them closer to our city.
Sure. I mean, that's a great idea. And we had talked about it in the past, but our limitations on our district boundaries prevent us from, reaching out to the river like the mayor said. I mean, we had talked about providing, as much as we could to the boundary, and then whoever or whatever would take it from there. And we'd offered support, but as far as funds and what we could do outside the district, we were limited, but we certainly can make phone calls.
I know Babcock's Landing is actually maintained and taken care of by the Friends of the Looking Glass.
Thank you.
So they pick up trash. They maintain that out there. I don't know if anyone's ever been out there, but it's off of Babcock Landing and Babcock Road there off of Round Lake. But it's just a wide open space on the river to go fishing.
So I've been there. I go there several times every year with friends, and there are times, some weekends it's packed. It's hard to get in there to find parking.
It's usually always packed.
And then if you go the other direction out towards Bancroft, there's another one out there. And thank you. I don't know why I was thinking Shiawassee River, but yes, Looking Glass River, the Friends of Looking Glass River. In that direction towards Bancroft, what's that next little community? Oh,
Bancroft's getting pretty far out there. That's next to Durand almost.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to emphasize is how far it is to the next launch. It's quite a ways. And neither of those places really, the nearest launch to the east and to the west are not really in communities. Whereas other places like, you go to DeWitt or St. John's or any other community that has a river, and they find a way to get a launch in there because
Well, there is one in DeWitt. I think there's one in between. I think there's one in Owasso. And I can't remember, but I thought there was one at a small town somewhere out in the country, but I could be way off base on that. So, but as
Are you talking about?
Richard said, it's definitely something to look into and call about and ask, but
Are you doing Looking Glass or Shiawassee River?
Looking
It's
Glass.
actually the Looking Glass, yes.
Sorry, I misspoke before when I said Shiawassee, my fault. So anyhow, that's something that just jumps out as something, this is a citywide document, and we had a fit assessment, and I felt like that was the one thing that just really stood out. And everything that I saw in that fit assessment was this idea that we really, with a river, that we're that close to the river, we ought to have a kayak launch closer by.
A few years back, it may not have been an advantage to do because the river was such a mess, but they've done so much work to it now. It may be very viable to travel it from down to Babcock from Laingsburg without a problem, or on down to DeWitt, because that's what choices you have. You can stop in Babcock's Landing, or you can go to DeWitt and get off. And I'm not a kayaker, so I don't know that much about it. I've just heard people talk about it. So there's a lot of details I would say we'd have to know, but that's an open subject.
Yeah, I go out there and people say that they kayak all the way from Babcock into Laingsburg. And that's a long journey. It's a full day trip. And I don't think you can kayak back very well. You kayak upriver and then you float downriver. So that could be under regional collaboration, tourism, quality of life. I think it fits into any of those three buckets. And I realize they're not, again, it's not DDA specific, but it's certainly a city thing. I'd love to be able to have a kayak, a small business running in the summer where, you know, we'll portage you, you know, you can rent a kayak and we'll portage you along the river, you know, some sort of a service for visitors of the Sleepy Hollow State Park. You're looking for a diversion, something else to do. I know they can kayak the lake as well. But a river is just, you know, another cool thing to do and brings them right into the city.
Well, I believe it should be a consideration to look into. I mean, it's amongst all the other things in the list that was brought to us, even in the report. But that's something that's going to take months to develop. Right now, we're looking at if these things that are on there that we can give them a rubber stamp basically to move forward with it, and then we can start dissecting these things. That's my opinion. Like the ramp, we need to find out what's feasible and what isn't feasible before we even make a decision if we can do one, if somebody would maintain it or so forth. I mean, some kind of a plan. So there's other steps to take, I believe, and we have it in our plan that it is a viable situation such as you're stating that we could have. So if we said okay tonight, we're still leaving the door open to open it back up and talk about all these other things that we need to address. Be it a boat launch or each step, we're going to probably have to go a meeting or two and get information every time on whatever we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, this is an ongoing list. You know, like we said, we could talk about it at every meeting and go through and add to it or whatever we need to do, the way I understand it. So I think what we're looking for a motion for this document to satisfy our requirements, correct?
That's fine, but Paula did invite comment and input, and she asked if she felt there was anything that should be added. So I was responding to Paula's question.
Yep, no, absolutely. That's what it's for, yep, to make comments and to add to it if we need to.
I would like to add language in here in some way that indicates, you know, future discussion about the possibility of a kayak launch. So maybe it goes under tourism. Participated in the FIT assessment program, continue to expand on knowledge from that program, including ideas like a possible.
My comment, Sharon, you want me to put it in the comments?
Sure.
Okay.
Something, just
Yeah.
something. Thank you.
Paul, I would say from an RSC perspective, one of the ways we see communities handle this is exactly how you're all doing it here, right? You're looking at the plan and maybe some new things have popped up, like your fit assessment happened since you passed this plan, right? And so new things have come in, and it's possible, since this isn't a statutorily required plan, there's no public hearing requirements around it or anything like that. You could simply add we looked at it this year, these are the things we'd like to add, and these are the things we've achieved. Actually just add that like as an appendix to the plan, so you're tracking every year how you're doing. Part of the other plan, I will say that hasn't gotten quite as much attention tonight, that I would encourage you all to go look at, is on page 15, 16, and 17. You have actual actions on that plan that are tied to those goals as well. So there's some of those things like expanding hotspot internets downtown, getting RSC certified, doing policy incentives, which is perfectly applicable to RSC 2.0 that Paul and I will be talking about soon. Some of those things are on there that are a little more specific as well. Part of the plan is to kind of try to keep you on track, right? So that there's like a million good ideas about all the things you could do, right? And the plan was an attempt to kind of narrow that down. So you saw the things that would help you meet your goals over the short term, long, and medium term. And things like a kayak launch are absolutely applicable to add to that. But you want to also make sure you're going back and looking at the things 2 years ago you thought were good ideas to do. And figure, are they still good ideas? So you don't want to lose too much back. But Paul, I think that because you all always have great conversations whenever we're at your meetings, like you all like actually participate, which is awesome. I would encourage you to capture that, and to put that as a like annual update right in that document.
You got it.
So, but we're pretty flexible, Paula. We're not a check the box kind of program. I just gotta say it. But we want you to do it the way that makes sense. I know.
That off my list.
I think you owe me a beer, Paula. That's all I'm saying. But,
It's when the bar opens on Monday.
all right. Yeah. So yeah, this is a great conversation. You're all hitting it right on the head as what we're asking you to do, which is just to reopen it and look at it every year, and at least every year, and just make sure you're staying on track. So.
I really like the idea of updating that sign out by Sleepy Hollow State Park.
I think that should be a footnote in there too.
Yeah, I know it's already on there. I think Paul already got it on there, and thank you for that, because I think that's an easy one, right? We can knock that one out of the park easily.
Yep.
No pun intended. No pun totally intended.
I'm kind of on the other side of the spectrum here, Samir, on the review, like you're saying, once a year at least. I kind of feel like we ought to be looking at it a minimum of every 6 months.
Love it. Do it.
Yeah.
We should have a meeting that we're focusing on that, I think, because we can look at our goals in that 6 months time and what we want to do easier in a full year.
I agree. I feel like this isn't something that we could fully give full attention as part of a typical meeting packet, but rather to say, maybe we need a special meeting dedicated just to this, just to going through this document and figuring out what's missing and what can we prioritize things? What are the things that we can easily do and just knock them out of the park? And are there other things that are admittedly big challenges and maybe real unknowns, like a kayak launch? I realize that's far reaching. I really do, but I don't want to, I want to have those far reaching ideas out there in front of us and to challenge ourselves a little bit. And I think the cities that I see that really thrive are the ones that really raise the bar for themselves and really go after those tougher projects. If we can do a music pavilion, we can find a way to do a kayak launch with a little help from some friends.
Sharon, a lot of times I believe that timing is everything. And with the conditions that our country is with COVID and different things, people are looking for entertainment they've never done before. Something that will occupy them and get them outside, even more today than there ever has been. The boat launch or canoeing, kayak, and any of that gives the people the outdoor sports, just like a golf course. It's flourishing here because people can play golf. I understand what you're saying. I believe it. There are a lot of loops to jump through. And that's why I feel that we ought to, no doubt, at least set forward every 6 months and open it up and discuss it rather than a year. And I am under the impression we can open it up next meeting if we want to and discuss it It's just a matter of what's wrote tonight, of looking at it and say, yeah, we fall into that spectrum. We like what we see. We can add and take away anytime we want. So yeah, let's go for it. That's my interpretation of what I'm hearing
Or
tonight.
even when the DDA is working on their budget, they could go through this document and look for something that they want to spend their money on.
And that's a good point too.
As a project. So, I mean, it's a document that we are supposed to use to guide how we spend our funds and how we spend our attention. So I think that we need to start looking at it that way. We're not necessarily opening it up to change it. We're just looking at it to see what can we do that we've listed in here. And is there something that we don't think applies anymore? Maybe we want to get rid of it, and maybe we do want to add something. But we're not actually just like reviewing it to formally change it. We're actually just reviewing it so everybody knows what's in there and knows what to work on.
And I think it's a fresh reminder of what's been done. So people keep that in their mind as an accomplishment through the DDA, the projects they've done.
I will, from an RSC perspective, I think you'll see some things in here, right, that aren't quite within the DDA's like direct control or purview, right? Some of this stuff is planning commission stuff. Some of this stuff might be council stuff. And so a lot of our communities actually use a joint meeting between those three boards as a chance to review their economic development strategy because it touches the entire community, right? And
We have on our action table, we have whose responsibility it is in some of those areas. So.
Exactly. So getting those folks all together is usually helpful.
Well, but Paula, at the last time we met, you even suggested that we do a three-way meeting, once this spring when we pull out of COVID. I don't know how we make that happen. Maybe we do a gathering at the pavilion and social distance 6 feet apart with chairs and just everyone come together and have conversations and talk through some of this stuff.
Yep, and that's later on our agenda that I want to talk about doing that.
Sorry, am I jumping ahead?
Oh, it's fine. I just wanted to let you know that, yep, we sure are going to talk about that. A joint meeting is right on our agenda.
Yay. I think it's a great idea and it would be fun. I think we need to treat ourselves after this COVID shutdown.
Christopher, I even talked about it when you weren't on here.
Okay, Paula, I saw it on the agenda, so I'll count that.
So today we just need to, I'm completely, what do we need to make a motion on?
We just need a motion that you guys have reviewed this document and, agree with the progress we've made and are going to continue to work on the goals and the action table.
Can we also, how do we hold ourselves to actually pulling it out again at the next meeting or the meeting after and actually having a session where we just kind of really hash through some of the items and maybe, is that something we should do? Should we spend?
Well, we can just each bring it up individually if something pops up or we want to talk about it or put it on our budget or as a project and, bring it up at the meeting.
And I did send all of you the entire document. So, if you didn't get a chance, go ahead and look through it. And then, the thing I focused on was the goals, but there is an action table that Christopher was talking about. Look at that. And it has specific things in there of which we have accomplished some of them. And we could go ahead and update the document and put in there that we accomplished some of those things.
Yep. Paula, I would say to Sharon's point, as an RSU community, you have access to a project management system called Trello. So it's a free online project management system. Paula, I could add a 6-month reminder to that management system if you want. So it'll nudge you.
Well, there you go. Just what I need, more reminders.
I know you love getting those emails.
I'm surprised she doesn't tell you to send them to the mayor.
A few times I think she's thought about it.
I know. She's a hard worker.
Last time he sent me a reminder, I think he spent the rest of the day reviewing my stuff. So
I did. I learned my lesson.
I think there's a different dynamic that happens when you send something out to all the members and you say, look at this and let me know if you see anything you want changed or added or taken off. That's a different dynamic than when you put a document in front of us and say, let's go through this together and let's talk about it. You know, I mean, they're both really good approaches, but I'm not sure that having us all do an individual review and commenting only if we see something that should be changed is really, really
Well, I agree, we
the
can
full,
go
the full
through
picture.
each one, but I think it would be very helpful if everyone read the document and became familiar with it before we.
Yes. Yes, so that's why I'm saying we could say at our next meeting, we're going to go through this document. And the expectation is that we will have all read it, including me.
I will put it back on the agenda.
And so by the next meeting, we will have all read it. Sorry, everyone. Is that, or do we not need to do that? That's my suggestion.
We got a motion, so we can move on to the rest of the agenda?
I make a motion that we move on to the rest of the agenda.
No, I need the motion for the review.
Oh, I make a motion that we take this document and review it at the next meeting. And move it on to the next agenda. Whatever you want, Paul, I'll say yes.
Christopher, what do you need?
Don't give her that idea, Sharon.
I know.
So does that motion satisfy the acceptance of just your review portion of it? Is that what you want an acceptance on, is just those bullet points? Since she has a motion on the table, can we discuss that? I just want to make sure her motion encompasses what you needed on that review.
What do you need from us, Christopher?
What I need is what you guys just did.
Sweet.
Like the
I'll
fact that you
support-
talked about it is enough, but the motion is very helpful just to say, yep, we've reviewed it and, you know, we're cool with where it's going. Reviewed it is what we're looking for.
So
So
Sharon's motion is that we've reviewed it and we would like to continue reviewing it throughout the year. How's that?
I'll support.
I accept that revision to my motion.
All right.
Aye.
What's that? I did. Conklin seconded.
Oh,
All
we
right.
need a second.
Do you want a roll call?
I don't think we need to do that for this motion, do we? We just accept it
No, that's
as
fine.
written.
Everybody in favor? Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
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 Aye.
All right.
All right. So training, new business training.
So, we always send you guys flyers about training and we, send emails and we give you magazines and a couple of you go, but we'd kind of like to do a training where everybody kind of gets the same information. And so we're trying to think of ways that maybe we could just bring it to you. We're talking about maybe a meeting where we have a short 15-20 minute meeting. We'll do another 20-minute training or something. The training could be on the economic development plan. The training could be on, what's in the DDA plan. And we can talk about Open Meetings Act or what a TIFA plan is and, anything like that. But, if you want to go to the Capitol Conference and things like that, we do, fund those, but we're kind of looking at really trying to step up our training game a little bit and making sure that everybody is comfortable with what we're doing. So
Is there something specific you have going on right now that you're thinking of, or somebody that
I
could come in?
emailed out some information about the Capitol Conference that's coming up. Sometimes we get some specific DDA stuff. But if, if you're ever interested in that, I'd like to, hear back from you that you want to go to these things. And a lot of it right now, I actually like the virtual trainings. So, I like to go to the in-person ones because there's a lot of fun to be had there. But it's so much more convenient to fit it on your calendar, these virtual ones. So, but if there is anything you guys think, of that you would like to learn more about, or you would like us to bring to you, Christopher and his team can come in and do some training. I can do some things, we can do Open Meetings Act. So just, keep that on the plate, kind of like the economic development strategy that, there's always room for us to learn things. One of the things that I kind of thought about, I don't know if Christopher was on this one or not, but there was a Winter Cities program a couple weeks ago that I participated in the webinar and watched, and there was some fantastic stuff in that. I think just like replaying that for you guys at a DDA meeting that we all watch together and talk about would be excellent, because there was, I don't know if you guys have seen any of the stuff that some of these cities are doing, but when they build a park now, they're not talking about a summer park. They're talking about a Four Seasons park. So what can we do in that park all year round? And with our park being right in our downtown, if we set up some hay bales or straw bales up where we want the kids to sled, and put up some of those fire things, and, made it like welcoming for people to come in, roast some marshmallows, whatever. Imagine what would happen. We would transform that park to, a winter wonderland where, people could we could do snowman building contests and partition things off. And one of the things that came up was like, you would have sleds or ice skates or skis, even cross country skis, and the library could handle renting them out. Like, people could check them out. So the DDA could buy that equipment, and the library could be utilized to, let people check them out. So, I just got some wonderful ideas from that webinar, and just having you guys watch something like that, it just really gets your mind flowing with what possibilities there are that we aren't tapping into.
I'd love that.
Sure.
I think that's fabulous.
Is there something you can send out when those come about? Just keep sending them on the email.
Yeah,
okay.
I try to, but I don't know that I sent that one to everyone, but it was all recorded, so I think we could watch it. Christopher, did you do that one?
I did not attend that one, but that was one where actually all of our RSC communities got free registration to it. Because,
so that's why I went then. Okay.
So that's a nice perk of being in RSC. But it also leads to a great point, right? Like Richard, maybe Paula sent out the email and it got lost, in our flurry of other emails. I don't know about you guys, I have 981 emails in my inbox. And so it's hard to figure that out. So part of, I think what Paul is getting to too is hopefully it's easier to bring it directly to you all when you're already planning to be at a meeting, right? It's not adding more time and more things onto your plate. It's a direction a lot of RSC communities are headed. And we're also facing the situation where, while training may be easier in the virtual world, there's more of it, quite frankly. And so it's more overwhelming to figure out the ones that you really want to go to, right? You could spend all day on webinars. So figuring out what are your core topics as a board that really matter to you, that you really want to learn about this year, so you can implement your goals and the things that are really interesting to you, so that Paula can figure out when something comes across yeah, I know this is on their priority list. Let's send this out and push people to go, right? Or this is something that no one has expressed any interest in. I'm going to save them all an email, that kind of thing.
Right. Okay. So that's something else we can all think about and add to that at our meetings when they come about.
Is anybody interested in seeing some of that winter workshop that I watched?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think it was recorded. I might even just be able to find it and send it. Do you know that, Christopher?
I think it's all behind Maps firewall.
I feel like I got an email that said something about, how to do something with that. So, but
yeah, I think
I really, really enjoyed it. I thought there was some really good information there and things that I just never thought of. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know if you guys know where Bel Air is. That's where the Shorts Brewery is, I think.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, they have like a little, I don't, in the summertime it really doesn't look like much, but right now it's like an area between two buildings. I don't know if there used to be a building there or what, but they lined it with kegs and made dividers in there so like people can sit in these little outside cubicles made with kegs. And they've got little fire pits in there and it's really cool. And what that probably didn't cost a whole lot to do. Just like our tables and chairs that we did. I mean, it didn't really cost much to make that kind of improvement. And I think we could do the same thing with some winter activities. So whether it's COVID or related or not, I just really think it kind of like brought that to light that, gee, why didn't we think of that? We could sit outside in the winter sometimes, or, you know, people are out there anyways. So I'll quit going on now.
They're all good ideas, Paula.
Yeah. That's why you got to prioritize, right? Because they're all good ideas. So you gotta-
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like
So-
the
It
one
was called
about,
the Winter City Virtual Conference. It was very cool.
All right. Anything else on the training?
I would only make a suggestion that maybe as Paula gets these, as we talk to incorporate it into the meeting, is that we try to reserve as much as we can so we don't go over our time, but allow at least 15 minutes over our normal meeting to give us plenty of time to look at this stuff and everybody be aware that we're going to go about an hour and 15 minutes or whatever instead of the normal hour.
Well, sometimes we're 15, 20 minutes, you know.
I know,
So,
but that would give us 45 minutes on a training or a movie or an hour if we got done like that. If you know, if you had a small agenda, that was the only thing I was saying.
Good idea.
And everybody be
All right.
aware up front. So
Yeah. Good idea. All right. New business joint meeting. It's the last thing on our list here for new business.
one of the things that we kind of wanted to do was get the city council, the DDA, and the planning commission together, like we did for the fit assessment. We invited everybody to that, and we had a kind of big meeting where everybody, we don't have to do that big of a deal again. We could do it at the park here, or we could do that again. I mean, I think it went very well. We had great turnout, but just so everybody kind of talks about all these goals from everybody's different plans and how we can all come together to accomplish the same thing. We all want to support Laingsburg and help everything get better. So everybody just brings their ideas and we just talk kind of like you guys are tonight. And I guess that's, you know, something we need to work on for this spring. We're kind of hoping we can get outside. Maybe we could have an outdoor meeting or something. We are also talking about doing something like that so that we can plan for the grand opening of the amphitheater. So putting our heads together to see what everybody's interested in and wants to see to get that thing a good start.
That's a great idea. So we want to plan for something when the weather breaks a little bit here and get everybody
think
together.
so.
But
I mean,
down at the,
if we could get out, we could do it out here in the park pavilion or something. I think we might be able to get us all together outside. So
sure. Great.
everybody kind of just needs to keep that on their radar and probably talk about one of our spring meetings for something like that. So
Okay. And then if that's it for new business, old business, we got amphitheater.
in case anybody hasn't driven by, it's done. It's lit up right now. I think you could land an airplane over there, but yeah, so we're working with, we kind of got a group working together, trying to figure out how to fill it this summer, or if we're going to start thinking 4 seasons this winter too. So one of the first things that came up is I was contacted by the school, the drama club. They are unable to do their performances inside. and they wanted to know if they could use it. And I said, absolutely. That was the total intent of that building was, I mean, I said, you tell me when your performance is and we will, we're going to mark that off on our calendar. And she was super excited. The kids are all excited because they haven't been able to perform in front of a live audience. And so I think that's a great way to kick it off, whether it's our grand opening or not. It is, you get those kids down there and you get their buy-in, and forever they'll be a part of something that happens there. So, and bringing
Maybe
our
we
families down to,
organize our grand opening around when they want to do that.
right now it looks like their play will probably be in May. So that's where we're at right now with that. But with our grand opening, we wanted to have our, maybe our group meeting that night, or, another, like, we want all the commissions to come as well. And then we'd like to reveal that history sign.
In May sometime, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be great. That's perfect.
So if
We'll
anybody
know a
has
lot
any
more by
ideas
then.
or wants to join in with the planning for the amphitheater, or anything at the parks, Lark is trying to get members together, and we're doing Zoom meetings right now every 2 weeks on Thursday. So I think we have one coming up this Thursday, the 28th at 7 o'clock. So we're just kind of trying to get a group of people together that have ideas on how to use the amphitheater, rules, regulations. It's, it's not just about the amphitheater, because the amphitheater is also a big part of the park. So anybody wants
And that
to get
meeting's every
involved?
2 weeks right now?
Yeah, because we're trying to get some things planned for some programs in the summer, and kind of just figure out how we're going to manage it. So
Uh-huh.
if anybody's interested, I can forward the invite.
Okay, yeah.
You forward it to me, Paula, please.
I will.
Thank you.
Right, and then our last thing for old business is the DDA plan.
I'm going to let Christopher handle that one.
Thanks, Paula. So I don't have a whole lot for you. I did talk to Justin this evening just before the meeting from CIB Planning. So Paula, Justin expects to have an updated draft to you before the week is out. So
Okay.
I guess we'll know more after that. They weren't far from being finished, but we did want to make sure that you got a plan that was really aligned with the intent of the law and gave you the actual strategic objectives of your other plans integrated into one place. So hopefully by your next meeting, well, I'm sure by your next meeting, you should have hopefully a final draft to review and comment and then soon after approve. So.
Excellent. So are you going to send those out ahead of time, and then we can discuss it during our meeting then?
Yes.
During our next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
And like this plan, maybe you guys want to have a separate meeting that's just about going through that document and go through it and talk through all the items in it. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad idea. I'd be up for that. I'd be willing to do an extra meeting if necessary to do that.
Who doesn't love an extra meeting, Paula? Who doesn't love an extra meeting?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying
Any
so
day
hard
but
to say
Monday.
no right now, and I just can't say no to Paula.
I know. She knows it too, Sharon. That's why she does this.
I know. I know she knows.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? I think that's it. That was printed on our agenda. And now we're at other. If anybody else has anything else they want to discuss.
Dave Cashler from the DPW is on. He was having some technical difficulties earlier, so I don't know if he can talk or not. But
He's muted right
Dave?
now. There he
Your
goes.
DPW guys muted?
I'm on.
Uh-oh.
You should go
Yeah,
okay
I'm
now.
on.
You got anything for us, Dave?
Any projects, Dave?
Not right this minute, I don't.
Okay. Something you're thinking of coming up? Something's coming up soon?
Not till spring. I gotta, we're gonna work on redoing the sidewalks on the north side. We gotta re-caulk and seal them up again this year.
Okay. All right. We'll keep that on the radar. Anyone else have anything? No? Sounds like we got some homework to do, huh?
Yep.
We're studying and reading. So. All right. Well, if no one has anything else, there'd be no objections. We'll adjourn.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.